Soon afterwards, I managed to leave for Constantinople. At that time, Constantinople was full of Russians. I met acquaintances from St. Petersburg, and with their assistance, I began to give lectures. I got no letters from Gurdjieff, but I was sure he would come to Constantinople. He actually arrived in June with a fairly large company. I was very glad to see Gurdjieff, and to me personally it seemed then that, in the interests of the work, all former difficulties should be set aside, and that I could work with him as in St. Petersburg. I brought Gurdjieff to my lectures and handed over to him all the people who came to my lectures, particularly the small group of about 30 people that I worked most with. Everything was very interesting for me. Gurdjieff often came to see me. We went together through the Constantinople bazaars. We went to the Mehlevi dervishes, and he explained something to me that I had not been able to understand before. And this was that the whirling of the Mehlevi dervishes was an exercise for the brain based upon counting, like those exercises that he showed to us in Esentuki. In August 1921, I went to London, where I gave lectures in continuation of the work in Constantinople. In February 1922, Gurdjieff came to London. I introduced him to all who were coming to my lectures. This time my attitude towards him was much more definite. I did not believe it was possible for me to work with him. I saw again all the obstacles which had begun to appear in Esentuki. This time they had appeared even before he arrived. I decided that if Gurdjieff opened the Institute in London, I would go either to Paris or to America. The Institute was opened in London, but for various reasons it failed. My London friends and those who came to my lectures collected a considerable sum of money for him, and with this Gurdjieff bought the historic Chateaubriand near Paris. There he opened his institute. A very interesting and animated work was proceeding there. A lot of new and interesting things. Dances of dervishes and the music were held for the first time in Europe. Everyone was impressed who had the opportunity to see and hear that. I arrived at the Chateaubriand for the first time at the end of October or the beginning of November 1922. I remember one talk with Miss Catherine Mansfield, who was then living there. She already seemed to me to be halfway to death, and I thought that she was fully aware of that. But with all this, one was struck by the striving in her to make the best use, even of those last days, to find the truth whose presence she clearly felt, but which she was unable to touch. She spoke in a feeble voice which seemed to come from the void, but it was not unpleasant. I know that this is true, and that there is no other truth. You know that I have long since looked upon all of us, without exception, as people who have suffered shipwreck and have been cast upon an uninhabited island, but who do not yet know it. But these people here know it. The others, there in life, still think that a steamer will come for them tomorrow and that everything will go on in the old way. These already know that there will be no more of the old way. I am so glad that I can be here.